On the 27th of May 1999, you were appointed the Barnsley manager, replacing John Hendry. Eric Winstanley had been caretaker manager for the last few games of the season. Just talk to me through that appointment at Barnsley FC then, Dave.
Well, before that day, I'd met John Dennis a couple of times to talk to about the vacancy of the job. So, I had discussions and, after going through things, decided to accept the offer to come to Barnsley that day. So, hence it was the situation where I was appointed. In actual fact, the night before, Sheffield United came back for me and asked me to go back there. But I said no, I'd shaken John Dennis's hand and I wasn't going to pull out at the last moment at all because I didn't think that was fair. Although obviously I thought a lot of Sheffield United, you've got to respect your word along the way. So, yes, so it turns out that, I joined.
Obviously, at that time, Aberdeen were interested as well, and you had a conversation with Alex Ferguson regarding that. He suggested you got the right personality to manage Aberdeen. What do you think Sir Alex Ferguson meant by that, Dave?
Well, I got on well with Alex Ferguson, and I'd been scouting for him before I come to Barnsley. When I left Nottingham Forest, he rang me up and said, look, to keep yourself active between now and the end of the season or until a job comes up, why don't you do some scouting for me, which was terrific. And a lot of it was actually abroad as well. But I did come to Barnsley for a couple of games. I remember watching Robbie Keane play for Wolves there. I did a report on them. I forget who the other player was, but other games I was, went to Holland to watch games. I went to France to watch games. I went to games to Italy. So it was nice and a change to go and do that particular thing. So he then come up and said, look, Aberdeen have got a vacancy. I've recommended that, they talk to you. I think, you do well up there, he said, and it would be good, he said, and but good for them as well. But he said, obviously, you've got to consider it. So I did, and I did talk to Aberdeen, but I just felt that I didn't really want to move up to that part of Scotland. It's not that I'm not anti-Scottish or anything like that at all. It was just a hell of a trip, and I was fairly set in Sheffield with my daughters are doing all their exams and everything else, and so I didn't want to be up there working by myself. I'd done a stint at Crystal Palace doing that, so I didn't really want the situation again.
So John Dennis, you mentioned meeting him, invited you for a chat, and I believe you went to his house to see John and Barry Taylor, who was director at Barnsley at the time. But what did that consist of, that chat? How did they manage to convince you really to join Barnsley, and why did you shake the hand?
Well, I mean, John rang me up and said, look, we've got a vacancy. We think, you might fit the role, etc. Are you prepared to talk about it? At that stage, I was prepared to talk to people, yeah. So I arranged to meet him and Barry at his house, and, we talked about the job. We talked about Barnsley. We just had a real good, couple of hours decision, talking about the job, etc., etc. You with me? I lived in Sheffield, which was not too far from Barnsley. It was nice and convenient. I could live at home in Barnsley. Getting over there was quite easy. And as I say, I thought about the job, and it sort of appealed. I thought, well, yeah, this is okay. John was very enthusiastic about it and straightforward, and he was desperate to try and get back in after, being in the Premier League one season and then not really making it the next season. This was, last year at a parachute payment, and he wanted to sort of give it a push. So, I went away to think about it. They went away to think about it. And, it came back and John said, look, we'd like you to come and do the job. How do you feel about it? So, I'd considered it and thought, yeah, at that particular time, there was other bits and pieces about, but nothing that appealed to me. And I thought, yeah, this could be a good challenge, Barnsley have only had one season. It's a local one as well. I know the area. I know the players. So, let's go for it. So hence, I said, yeah, okay. And we then talked finance, etc., to agree a contract. And, it was full steam ahead as there, as I say. And then, as I say, I think Sheffield United got wind of it. And all of a sudden, Derek Dooley rang me up saying, look, we want you to come back here. And I said, as much as I had respect and time for Derek Dooley, I said, no, that's not the case. I've shaken hands with John Dennis. I can't feel that I can phone him up. I'm not that type of bloke. I gave him my word. I'd come to phone him up and say, look, I've changed my mind. I want to go back to Sheffield United. Even though I had a lot of ties with the club. But also, sometimes going back to a club for the second time is not always as good as the first time. But as the main thing was, I didn't want to be in a situation where, I've all of a sudden given my John Dennis my word and then say, well, I've changed my mind. People have often said to me that I've been too loyal, which proved to be the case in the November when I stayed at Barnsley instead of going to Blackburn.